Hey guys, this is the Bodywork Coach. This is going to be a video about why that I actually teach Bowen Therapy. A bit of a video about my story, what got me here, and why I'm so passionate about teaching it. Before I start, I'm currently up in Mount Hotham at the snow. Just moved up here. I'm going to be working up here for the season. I've got a lot of plans to do a whole bunch of work around my Bowen Therapy course. I've been busy with a whole lot of other things in my life, managing other businesses, but yeah, hopefully I'm going to find some time this season up at the snow to film a whole lot of videos for you guys to share as much as I know about it. So, getting to my story. It all started with pain, It all started with me having pain, back pain, lower back pain and neck pain. Sort of started when I was around 16, I think. Look, it might have been, you could say it started with my orthotics potentially. I had flat feet and I got orthotics. Then I went to this chiropractor. I just went to a chiropractor. I didn't have pain yet at the time. It was more that I had orthotics, and my mum said, oh, maybe the chiropractor might be able to help you out and sort it out, so you could take him out. Went to see the chiropractor. Of course, he took them out and said he could sort me out. I haven't worn them since. This is when I was, like I said, about 15, 16. Anyway, so that's where it sort of started. And now the pain thing for me, or what else I could say around that is that I remember basically every practitioner I've ever seen in regard to my discomforts that I've had, like I remember every treatment I've had. I remember all the moves that they did, and I remember all their breakdowns in their head of what they were, what they thought it was and how they could help me, and how quickly they could help me and how many treatments, etc. And I was disappointed most of the time. Back then I kind of did expect that I'm seeing this professional and they're telling me they'd sort me out and this x-ray said this and they'd be able to help me out. So when I was young and ignorant, I guess, I thought, okay, well, cool, that's amazing, I can't wait to not have it anymore. And it didn't go away. Or no one was able to get rid of it. I'd seen many chiropractors. I'd seen a bunch of rolfers. I'd seen traditional Chinese medicine practitioners for acupuncture. And then I saw a handful of massage therapists as well. And so by the time I was maybe in my 30s, early 30s or late 20s, I got to the point where I just felt that this was something I have to live with, and But then the other thing was, I'd also learned at that point that everyone's got their own perception of things. Every professional's got their breakdown. The massage therapist had his breakdown. The chiropractor had their structural breakdown. The rolfer had their breakdown. They were, whatever that is. I don't want to go into that, but so that's another thing I learned, that everyone's got their breakdown, and they might do their research on your body and find out as much as they can about you, and then do their work based on their treatment, on what their education has led them to do. So I'd learned that everyone's going to diagnose you differently, and that there isn't necessarily one perfect diagnosis. I can see that I've still got back pain these days. I manage it a lot myself. Anyway, so this is, even though I'm going on about it, this is a very important part to why I do what I do, because it was only at that age that I did this massage course. I had the opportunity to do a massage course because I had some opportunity to do work in it. Rewinding a little bit, the only reason I wanted to pursue that is because my grandmother had taught me how to massage when I was around the age of 10. And I was really good at it, My parents would show me off to their family members, friends around the dinner table, they'd go, "Oh, Bronson, give people a massage." And I was like 12 years old, and I'd walk around the table massaging people's shoulders, and they're like, "Oh wow, he's so strong and he's so good." And so I was always good with my hands, and comfortable, touching people and stuff. So anyway, then I did this massage course, and before that, for me, massage had been one of those things that wasn't able to help me. It was at the bottom of my list, let's say. I'd had a lot of remedial massage, and it just didn't help me, sadly. It was just, in many levels, it was a bad experience. So not only because it didn't help me, but a lot of these people would say, "Oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Could you please then tell me what is where you'd like me to focus on?" And basically just lining me up for their routine and getting me to tell them what to do. And so from the beginning, I was like, okay, this is a bit strange. Shouldn't you be the one telling me where my issues are? This is before I was trained in massage. And so I'd seen a bunch of them, and to me that was, okay, massage is really, really not going to help me. It's at the bottom of the list, very, shallow in understanding. And then I did this massage course, which was a 2-week intensive massage course, intensive training, with a guy called Brandon Raynor, who became a very good friend of mine. What he taught me there is still the foundation of everything that I do. So regardless whether it's Bowen Therapy or energetic work, and if I do Dawn spinal therapy or some sort of spinal alignment, or there's a huge foundation that was laid with the massage that I learned at that point. I also teach massage now myself. I've got my own courses, but regardless, that massage taught me how to massage and how to treat the body in this way that was so comprehensive, and that something that I'd never experienced before, that it just blew my mind and made me go, okay, this is what I want to do. I, at the time, was a tradie. I was a floor sander, and I quit my job very quickly, begged Brandon to let me work for him. I eventually became his general manager and teacher trainer very quickly. It was like it was the easiest thing I'd ever done in my life. It was like, within a year I was his general manager and teacher trainer, so I was kind of directing and teaching the teachers that had been there already for years. I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just saying that for me this was the easiest thing I'd ever done in my life, working body work with my hands, and particularly massage. And so from that point on, I learned a lot from Brandon. I rattled his brain. I spent a lot of time with him, and learnt a lot from experience, from teaching, from treating people. Had a very busy practice for many years, and without going too much into that massage, learnt how incredibly you can affect the body with the right type of massage, and how deeply healing it can be. I've saved many people from operations, and from suicide, from depression, from immune issues, from all kinds of things. Amazing stuff. And so from that point on, I was mind blown. Within 2 days of doing that, of being at his course, I was already completely confident that I could now go out and do something that no one else would do. Because I've had this experience of seeing so many different body workers in my time, I was, set. I was like, okay, I don't care how little experience I've had. I've been doing this for 2 days now, and I'm very comfortable to go treat people, because no one will do this. No one will touch you like this. No one will treat you this comprehensively. So really, amazing for me. And so from that point on, I did that for a bunch of years. And in that time, my mum, or before that, previously to that, my mum had also been trained in Bowen Therapy. She learnt Bowen Therapy a very long time ago, kind of when the first courses started coming out, when Oswald Wrench started teaching, she was, right onto that, and was one of the early people in the early years of Tom Bowen to do his training. Tom Bowen's courses when they first came out. So I'd had experience of her doing Bowen Therapy, wasn't really paying much attention to it because it was so subtle and I didn't appreciate it. And I was very young, very, very kind of busy, active kid, always wanting to go out into the surf, and not the kind of kid who appreciated the wait time Bowen Therapy that my mum was trained in. So I just didn't want to get on the table. So I learnt this massage, and then I learnt this very strong, the massage can be very strong and very soft, but it's a very broad range of touch, basically based on what the individual needs at the time. And so even then, with learning this deep tissue massage, I even became more doubtful of Bowen Therapy. And I'd say to my mum, you can't do it that softly, this is not, you're wasting time, blah, blah, blah. I had a lot of discussions, and I was quite arrogant, with how I would talk to her about this doesn't work and it can't work. So I was very skeptical on it for many years. And so then after many years, it would have probably been, 12 years later at least, I got to the point where I'd had Bowen Therapy treatments from her, and there was one time that she did a Bowen Therapy session on me, and it actually blew my mind. So the first couple, they didn't do anything, and I was just frustrated because she'd do a couple of moves and then she'd go into the kitchen and do some clean the pots and pans, and then come back out and leave again. And I was so frustrated because I'm like, why don't you just do all of the moves now so I can go and do my thing? And so I couldn't lie there and relax, and wouldn't listen to her because she's my mum, so I wouldn't actually listen to her even though she was trying to tell me to relax. Then later on, this is in my now massage career, I felt that I had this just a strong feeling. I really work based on intuition, and so I had this strong feeling to do these cross fiber type techniques that are similar to the Bowen Therapy move, but with massage you can't just stop and do the Bowen Therapy move and change your technique. Or I felt at that time I couldn't change my technique that much, that I did it just once and then waited for a while, or did it once and then moved to another part of the body, as I do now with Bowen Therapy. So what I did was, I'm going to turn around. Don't know where I'm going. This is my first time I've walked here. Okay, so I started doing these cross fiber moves up, say, and the first time I experienced it was actually on the hamstrings. And so I was doing these cross fiber moves from the top of the hammies, sort of around where it attaches up at the hip, doing some moves down towards the back of the knee, then back up, then back down, back up again. I might do three sets, or sometimes even 5 sets of those, or till I felt it change, because all of my training was based on, one of the biggest things about the training that I've had is it's about feel, with Brandon Raynor. Feel the muscles, feel the body, feel. It could be another video itself that I could maybe talk about. But so it was all about feeling the change in the body, feeling the tension release, finding where the tension is. So when I was doing, I was very comfortable with feeling changes in people's bodies and looking for those tight areas, and just blew my mind how much of a change I could get with doing these Bowen Therapy moves. And from that point I thought, okay, I have to learn this. I have to now get a bit of training around it so I can maybe understand it a little bit better. So that led me then to finding my teacher, Robert. And that's another story. This video is already 15 minutes long. I don't want to kind of drag it out too much for you guys, but if you're still listening and I'm not boring you. So then, look, it is relevant. Robert is incredible. It took me about a year to find this guy. The reason was that I was looking for someone who could teach me Bowen Therapy based on intuition, not so rigid, not as rigidly as a lot of people teach it these days. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of, I've experienced a lot of, especially with my mum's training. She learned Bowtech, and I don't mean to say anything negative about anybody, but there was this, you have to do this, you have to have the wait time, you have to stop, if you can't touch the body or it won't work, and all these kinds of things. And because I'd experienced without any training and without any fears around it that it was working, because I was releasing the hammies in an incredible way, and I was not stopping, and I'd continue to work on other parts of the body. So it was working for me regardless of what, you know, she might have said or what she might have been trained to say. And so I had you know, for me, I was skeptical, and I didn't want to be backed into a corner, you know, being told that I have to do this and I can't do this. And so I wanted someone who could teach me based on, you know, how to work intuitively, basically. And so I actually looked so hard, and I'd given up nearly. And I found this one-page website about a year later, because everyone was saying, as soon as I said the word intuitive, people would just say, oh no, I just can't. Some people didn't even reply to my emails. And then I found Robert. I found this one-page website. It was funny. It was like pink heading, and just, you know, it looked like just a very simple one-page website in like the late 90s. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this guy a call anyway. And it was incredible, and Robert thought exactly the same way as I did. And this is a guy who was family friends with Tom Bowen. His grandfather was friends with Tom, and so Tom was around him a lot as he was a child. He'd had treatment from Tom Bowen. He taught Tom Bowen's granddaughters Bowen Therapy. He'd had conversation with Tom Bowen's daughters about, you know, how Tom worked, and just all kinds of cool things that I rattled his brain about. That, you know, so I'm saying this because he's not just, you know, he's not some guy potentially like me who just felt they wanted to do it differently and didn't have a connection to the source so much. You know, he had that strong connection. He learnt, and the other beauty of Robert is that he's learnt from pretty much all the boys out there who have their own courses who got to see Tom Bowen. He learnt from Brian Smart, Oswald Wrench, Michael Nixon Livy, Neil Skilbeck, and another mob called Fascial Kinetics in New Zealand. And so the also humbling thing about Robert, he learnt from all the guys, and I'd have to say there's probably not many guys out there who, you know, who have their Bowen Therapy course, who then go learn from the other guy's course, you know, who've established their own course. So he was fortunate enough to just be a bit younger than them and not be teaching his own thing, and then had this cool thing where he got to, you know, learn from all of them. So I learned from Robert. It blew me away, and because of my experience with releasing the body, relaxing the body, releasing tension, aligning the body, bringing about relief from issues, I very quickly got to feel the benefits of Bowen Therapy from how Robert taught me. Also, it fit perfectly well into my massage treatment, so I didn't have to, where a lot of people I've come across have said to me, I had to stop my Bowen Therapy training. This is a massage therapist. They said I stopped my Bowen Therapy training because they told me I can't stop. I have to stop, and I can't leave my hands on the body after I've done a particular bunch of moves. I have to take my hands off and stop working. And so Robert taught me I can do that. So I've been very much trained in working with the wait time. I've been very much trained without working with the wait time. I've been trained and have been teaching myself and learning how to adjust the Bowen Therapy moves, how to each different patient that I see. Not maybe that often, but in different circumstances you'll feel that you'll have to do some extra moves you might have never done before. For example, Tom Bowen said to people, he didn't teach a course. Tom Bowen said, you're probably going to see 15% of the moves I do. The rest you're going to have to teach yourself. So that's a big thing, like that's a huge thing to me. And so I've learned how to do, I take very dearly the information that other people have learned or teach, that you have to use this wait time. I've practiced that. I've experienced that through myself, my students, and my mother, and I really appreciate it. I love it now as an adult. This is now 30 years later. I'm a bit more calm. But I also very much appreciate doing Bowen Therapy without the wait time. I can get more done in that time. I can treat a lot of areas of the body. You can bring about, there's a high chance of bringing around the deepest state of relaxation, which is very important to me, because when it comes to the science, winding back to all these people that have, been treated me in the past and have their scientific education to negate what they're supposed to do in this treatment and how to approach that treatment for this person. What I've learned very much in my lifetime is what's called the relaxation response, and there is an incredible amount of scientific information around the benefits of the relaxation response. Hugely beneficial in so many ways. People even treat cancer with it, from my knowledge, and all sorts of diseases, but not going deeply into that at this conversation. Could see that when you do Bowen Therapy without the wait time, as I really wanted to take on in my practice, what you can get is a more guaranteed way to really, really put someone into that parasympathetic nervous system mode, where they're calm, where they might fall asleep and snap into this deep state of relaxation, and they have a whole lot of beautiful relaxing experiences. Yes, it's beautiful just for the relaxation and the calming, because most people these days are so highly strung, devices, etc. Busy lives, much busier than it used to be, in a different kind of way with the dopamine stimulation we get from phones. So not many of us actually get the opportunity to unwind ever. I've had one guy who came in and he was in his 50s, and he got up off the table and he said to me, I don't think I've ever felt this relaxed my whole life. And I felt great, but I also felt sad, because I was like, wow, that's really sad to hear that you've never relaxed before, So found that through doing Bowen Therapy without the wait time, you get to take someone out of their head. You really get to ground them. You get to have them, you're moving from one body part to the next body part, so they're never getting bored, for example. With a massage, for example, you might be rubbing the back, and some inexperienced practitioners might rub the back for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then they go to the legs. And the first 30 seconds or 2 minutes of a back rub might be incredibly relaxing and stimulating and tingling, and you're like, oh wow, this is beautiful, and you're really engaged in it. But then potentially 2 minutes later, you're looking at the carpet, you're thinking about work again, and you're losing that focus and connection with your body. Whereas what can happen with using Bowen Therapy without a wait time is you can go from one body part, you're up at the back doing some moves at the back and the shoulders, then you move down to the legs. I teach my patients to breathe into every area that I'm working, but also then they're taking their mind to their legs, and they might feel some tough stuff, some tension in their legs, and then you take it down to their feet. There's a whole bunch of grounding techniques or information theories from other forms of healing or body work, where working in the feet is very grounding, very soothing, very sedating. So you're getting to combine so many different kinds of techniques and elements of all kinds of body work into Bowen Therapy. So this is why I'm so incredibly, drawn to teaching Bowen Therapy. The other side of it is that it's very simple to learn. It's very easy to teach, especially over the internet. Tom Bowen taught by letting people watch him. He didn't teach a course. He didn't give people books and diagrams. He said to a bunch of guys, hey guys, you can come and you can come and watch me. I'll let you watch me. And he had 2 big fat hearing aids, and he wasn't much of a talker from my knowledge. And so he just said, you can watch. So, I'm very comfortable through both experience that Bowen Therapy is so the perfect manual therapy to teach these days with this digital world that we're in. And I can say that very sincerely. When it comes to massage therapy, it's very difficult to teach over the internet. I've got a very high standard of training where I need to get people to with my body works, and massage is just a very difficult one to qualify people with, to get them good. It's a very hard art to master in my perspective. And where Bowen Therapy, it's actually very simple. You don't have to have any formal qualifications. You don't have to have anatomy qualifications. Tom Bowen was self-taught in anatomy. He read some books. He had no formal qualifications of any kind, and that was probably to his benefit because he looked at the body differently. He didn't have his mind churning over with, this bone, this joint, this nerve, this muscle, blah, blah, blah. So that's why, losing my breath, I'm walking uphill here. Might have a bit of a stop. So, I think I can sort of end the video there, guys, because you probably don't want to hear me huffing and puffing. And there's not really much else there's heaps of stuff I could talk about, but to keep it concise and simple, Bowen Therapy is incredible. Coming from saving people with so many different, or helping people, not saving, I don't think that us do it, their body does it, but facilitating people's bodies to heal themselves with my massage training, and then seeing that with this Bowen Therapy technique that is so gentle and non-invasive and easy to learn, easy on your joints. You don't have to be strong to do it. My hands were getting really sore from massage. I was getting sore thumbs and stuff, and it's to the point where there was times I couldn't work. So yeah, it's incredible, and yeah, hopefully I haven't gone on too much about, just blabbed on about it all too much, and hope this is helped some people. Maybe hope that some of you out there can maybe relate to it and might get a bit of a understanding of what I'm about as well. So thanks for listening. If you managed to hang out for so long, and yeah, it's so beautiful here, guys. An incredible day, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao for now.